Friday, August the 6th. Today's The Drive Home is sponsored by the words every day. They are two wonderful words that I use almost every day. They feature that wonderful space in between, without which they would just be an everyday word. So, I am driving home just like I do every day. And I just want to revel in the fact that I have done one of these shows 3 days in a row, which is pretty darn good, seeing as I didn't mean to. And I also wanted to just revel in the fact that it is blisteringly hot in this car. The air conditioning is not working, and it's absolute misery. My tape deck just finished breaking. I use a tape adapter to play my podcasts, my music while I'm driving, because, you know, an hour drive needs some sort of entertainment. And I've been playing it through this tape adapter, and that just broke. I mean, just literally, it's always taken some fiddling, but today it just got in the car and it just wasn't gonna play. And yeah, so that's no longer working. The air conditioning hasn't been working for a while. It's loud and noisy. I'm having to kind of shout just to be heard. And I think that all of this is absolutely terrific, because this is the very last day I will be driving this car home, or to or home from work. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. My work has been pretty generous, and they're gonna let me drive the company car home. I'm gonna have to pay them for the mileage, but I get to drive the car home for the first 5 months, because my car is just falling apart, and they're just being absolutely terrific for letting me do that. And there was some kind of I made some noise at first about our arrangement, and they made it clear what exactly was going on. And once I figured out what was actually going on, I really am thankful to them for kind of making an exception for me. So that's that. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, I got kicked off of somebody's doorstep. It's actually really funny. So we finally tracked down a car that we needed to inspect, and we need to get an interview for this one. And it wasn't a terrific car, but it wasn't damaged too bad, and it wasn't towed, so, you know, we had to go talk to the owner to be able to figure out where it was. And so we tracked this house down, and first off, it's one of those accidents that involves not only a minor, 19. So a minor in their parents' eyes, but also a girl. So a 19-year-old girl got in this accident. And that's always tough, because, you know, the parents are going to be super protective, and if this hasn't really happened before, it's really a traumatic experience. And I recognize that and appreciate that. And so we went into this knowing that it was going to be kind of a difficult car to track down and a difficult case to deal with. We found the owner. We went to the owner's house, the mother, and there's the car parked right in front. And since we know that this, of all cases, is going to be a tough one, we decide to go ahead and do as we usually do when we find a car, and just take some pictures really quick. Because if we have the pictures, that counts as a partial inspection. So we go around and we're snapping our photos, 5 or 6 of them. And as we finish the last one, we hear, "Excuse me," excuse me, from the house, right? So we walk over, and you know, the idea was to take pictures of the car and then go knock on the door, and if they're there, ask them for permission. If they let us do an inspection, great, we get an inspection. If they don't, then we already have the pictures, and that counts as a partial inspection. So we hear this lady calling from the house. So we walk over, and she's doing that thing where she's over at a window instead of at the door, which, you know, is a great way to approach a stranger coming and taking pictures of your car. I mean, this is a totally understandable situation she's in. So we walk over, and I didn't do any of the talking because it's not my case, it's Jason's. And you know, he kind of introduces himself, and she's like, okay, so you're from the insurance agency? He says, no, I just said I work for the Department of Transportation. And she says, so you're with Geico? No, ma'am, we're from the Department of Transportation. We are not part of, you know, an insurance company. We're not trying to assign blame. We're trying to make cars safer. She's like, so what are you doing? Okay, well, basically we take as detailed measurements as we can, and we turn real world accidents into, you know, crash tests like you would do in a lab. And she's like, well, you know, I really am not comfortable with you guys being here. We said, that's fine. We're just trying to get a hold of, you know, insert name here, you know, the girl who was in the accident. We're just trying to get a hold of her. We'll leave you a brochure, but we need to talk directly to her. And she's like, yeah, well, you know, I don't know who you guys are, and I'm not comfortable with you here, and I want you off my property. And yeah, you know, we're getting kicked off of this doorstep, and that's you know, that's kind of crappy. But on the other hand, like, you totally understand this lady. You know, she's getting ready to go to work, and these two guys, and me and Jason are both pretty big guys, come and start taking pictures of her car that her daughter was in, right? Her 19-year-old daughter was in this accident. We come up unannounced, take pictures, and, you know, start knocking on her door, and, you know, it's totally understandable. And it would really be nice. We are government contractors. We are going through, to represent the government like this, you have to go through a 6-month background investigation, where I had to list, oh boy, like 12 or 13 different people to represent different stages of my life and different places I've lived, etc., just to prove that I'm not, you know, I'm not the kind of person that should not be representing the U.S. Department of Transportation. And so there's this long process, and this is just to get your contractor card, which is called your blue card. And the blue card is really going to make things easier. But 6 months is kind of the minimum. Jason has been working here for 2 years. He waited half a year to get the blue card investigation started because nobody told him he needed to do it. So he's been waiting for, you know, a good year, and he hasn't gotten his. But my point is, the reason I'm going through all this is because it's really difficult to be going out and knocking on people's doors, and they say, well, I don't know who you are. And the best I can do is hand them a business card that has a .gov email address. That's the best we can do right now, because it's taken so darn long to get our IDs. And once we get our IDs, and we can show them the ID card, not the temporary ID card that I have, but an actual ID card with an ID number that you can go look up online. You go to, I don't know, I guess it's like dot.gov, and you can enter the number, and it'll show you a picture of us, and it'll show you, you know, who we work for, our credentials, like that. And it's going to be really, really nice to get these, and I'm really looking forward to having a little bit of extra wiggle room that'll afford. All right, well, that's it. I'm going to Oklahoma City next week, so I don't think I may post a video next week. Maybe not. All right, have a good one, you guys.